everybody, it's David Pingree with Vital MX. We're out here at Quia Creek Raceway today getting our chance on the 2021 Husqvarna FC 450. This thing doesn't have a whole lot of changes for this year. Most of it's based around the suspension. Seat cover's been updated. Some people were saying it was a little too rough last year, so they've smoothed out the seat cover a little bit. Obviously the bold new graphics, but the big changes in terms of performance come in the suspension and the mapping. And mapping's just been updated. It's a lot of the same changes that the factory edition model got last year, which is what they kind of do, is take the changes from that, roll that into production the following year. So the mapping is updated again. It's got two maps, 1 and 2. 1 is your standard, 2 is more aggressive. There's traction control for both of those. And one thing I did notice in the mapping this year, I typically prefer the first map. It's just a smoother power. I'm making less mistakes, kind of getting less front wheel lift coming out of turns, breaking the rear end loose less. But I did find today I preferred the second map. First map's still great, just a little bit more mellow, more tame, just a really easy deliverable power. So some people may really like that. For me today, I enjoyed the second map. Just a little more playful and racy, but I didn't find myself making those mistakes that I have in the past in that setting. I did like the traction control, which I seem to always like. I did notice that difference though. I preferred map 2 today with traction control on. The other changes that are big come in the suspension, like I mentioned. The forks are 10 millimeters shorter, shocks 10 millimeters lower, or the back end, which comes via a complete, the longer link arm, completely different linkage knuckle. And the idea is just to get the bike to kind of settle into turns a little bit better. It also has different internals, the different low friction seals that the factory edition got last year. All of the updates from the factory edition, plus they went ahead and lowered it just to get that feel a little bit better. And I noticed it right away. I typically go on the high side of the sag, so if they recommend 105, which is what this is recommended at, I would push that and try to be like 106, maybe 107. Just because I like my bikes to kind of sit a little lower. Short inseam, and I just like my bike to kind of drop down into a turn and feel like it's planted better. So this one does that without me having to compensate with sag, which is nice. On the track, how do we feel? The power was awesome. It's really nice to have that adjustability. If I'm at a really hard slick track, I probably would drop back down to map 1. It's a subtle change, but also very noticeable. If you go from map 1 with traction control to map 2 with no traction control, that's the biggest, you will feel that. It's a very, very significant change. But I like having that adjustability. Today we're here at Quia Creek, and it's at over 5,000 feet elevation. So you lose a little bit of power, a little bit of that initial grunt and go. So maybe that's why I like the second map better. We go to a sea level track, could be, I may drop back down to 1. But it's just nice. I mean, literally as you're out there, you just tap the button and it changes over. It's so easy. Another thing that they did do on the suspension that also is really convenient, and I've always really liked this, is they just have the compression adjusters right there on the top. As you're riding, if you're like, man, it's a little bit soft or stiff, you just make a change while you're riding. And they've added the rebound to where you got to obviously get off the bike to do it, but you reach down and do that without any tools. And that's a cool feature. If again, you're out riding, you can stop, reach down, make that change without having to go back to your truck, get a tool. So I do like that, really cool feature that they had. So the power on this bike, again, awesome. This motor is super broad, makes power everywhere. It's a really good power plant. These guys have have done a great job developing this engine. As far as the suspension, I will tell you this, they recommend 10.7 bar on the fork as a baseline air pressure, and it's low. It's very, very soft. So if you're, just out cruising, if you're trail riding, you're gonna like that. And I would recommend everybody to start there and just see what it feels like. Set your sag at 105 and just have a go on it stock. But I can tell you, if you are over 185, if you are intermediate speed or quicker, you're gonna wanna go up on that air pressure. We went all the way up. I rode for a little bit. The pressure came up just riding to 10.9, and we ended up going to 11.2, where I was happy. The thing you got to get kind of stuck in your head is the air pressure doesn't so much change the firmness of it, it's more position. So I was noticing I'd get on the brakes hard and it would drop way down into the stroke. And that makes it actually feel firm because you're way down into the stiffer valving. So just by getting the pressure right so that you're riding in the right part of the stroke, you're balanced, then the valving starts to work in the range that it's supposed to, and then you can still tweak with the compression clicker to get it just to fine tune it. So I originally went a little bit stiffer to get that front end up. I came in, kind of told them the condition I was having. They said, hey, let's bump the air pressure up. Then I went back out on that compression adjuster to standard, and I think I even went one softer with the pressure at 11.2. Again, anybody who's intermediate speed or faster, you're gonna wanna slow the rebound down a little bit. It's just a little quick. 1 or 2 clicks, front and rear. And they also recommend a quarter turn in on the high speed compression on the rear. And again, that's just a ride height thing. So, some folks would try to adjust this, try to get that with the sag number, but it throws balance off. If you can just go in a quarter turn on your high speed, it's just gonna kind of raise it up, kind of hold it up so that you don't get down into that valving. The condition I kept saying is, I feel like the rebound's a little quick in the rear still. And he said, let me go in on the high speed compression, because what he thought was happening is I'm just getting too far into the stroke and then it's kind of popping back out. And sure enough, just I think a quarter turn is what we did in on the high speed compression, fixed that condition, and bike felt great, felt balanced. I could push hard on this thing, no complaints, in stock trim, which is great. The downside to the air fork is every time you go out, you need to check it. You can't just go, well, I rode 4 days ago and the pressure was good, it should be fine. It'll change. It changes with elevation up and down, it changes with temperature. So that's the pain in the butt, is you have to check it every time before you go out. The good news is it gives you so much adjustment. It's very easy to adjust and change and try something new without having to go buy fork springs and drop them in. So all around awesome bike. Again, everything that the Husqvarna has come stock with. Awesome clutch, the feel of that is great. Amazing brakes, comes with great tires. Just all the components on it are really high quality. And I suspect it'll be one of the most popular 450s again this year. Great bike. They are in your dealers' showrooms now, or will be shortly. So stay tuned and check those out. We really appreciate Husqvarna for having us out. Awesome bike. Those little changes they made definitely make a difference. And we can look forward to riding this thing a little bit more in our shootout and our race spec videos that are soon to be coming. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.